There was the day I truly became a father for the first time. Not in the warm, tearful way I felt when she was born. This was something heavier, something I had no name for yet. That was the day I became a father, in a completely different sense of the word. I still remember everything about that day. The air, the temperature, the sound of my own heartbeat. Because it was the day I finally understood, with every part of me, that the world my daughter was living in looked a little different from everyone else's. In the quiet of an early morning, soft light drifting through the window, I sit with a warm cup of tea and let myself look back. I pick up a pen and carefully write on the first page of a white notebook. Every day, it all comes back. Today, I'd like to begin filling that first page, together with you. This is every day, it all comes back. My quiet little angel has grown, somehow, into a beautiful 16-year-old. The girl who barely reached my knee now stands tall beside me. There's a softness and a grace to her that wasn't there before. When I look at her, this radiant, remarkable young woman she's become, I find myself drifting back, sometimes, to a time when I stood alone in the dark, in front of a tunnel with no end in sight. She was around 4 years old, and I, back then, knew almost nothing. I had a feeling, vague, unnamed, easy to push aside, that my daughter's experience of the world was a little different from other children's. I sensed it, but I didn't want to see it. Then one day, a doctor spoke to me in careful, measured words. She couldn't quite meet my eyes as she said it, that my daughter's development seemed to be following a different path from most children her age. The words were gentle, considered, clinical in the kindest way. But inside me, something enormous came loose, a wave of fear and grief I couldn't hold back, no matter how hard I tried. I remember praying, silently, desperately. Please, just tell me she's fine. Tell me I'm overreacting. Tell me she's just a little slow. I wanted so badly to hear those ordinary, reassuring words. But the world does not move at the pace we wish for. It does not bend to our need for comfort. One afternoon, the daycare called in a panic. My daughter had bitten another child. Hard. My mind went blank. I left work immediately and ran. When I arrived, the first thing I saw wasn't my daughter crying. It was the faces of the other parents. Shock, hurt, wariness. The look of people confronting something they didn't understand and were afraid of. Every one of those stares landed somewhere deep, and I felt it all. The shame, the helplessness, the suffocating fear. I knew their pain. Because I was a parent too. I could feel exactly what it meant to hold a hurt child in your arms. And so I said nothing in my defense. There was nothing I could say. I just stood there, head down, and kept saying, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry," over and over again. But she had no idea. She didn't know that her friend was hurting. She didn't know that her father was coming undone. She was just smiling. Hungry, she'd ask for food. Happy, she'd light up the room. And sometimes, for no reason at all, she'd walk over and hold me, both arms wrapped tight around my neck. That warmth, that small, wordless embrace. Strangely, it was what broke me the most. With my face buried in her hair, I thought it for the first time. "I'm sorry, baby. I'm so, so sorry." I was sorry that the world she came into carried this weight, this difference, this extraness that made things harder for her. I was sorry that I couldn't clear every stone from her path, that I couldn't make this world softer for her, more forgiving, more kind. That helplessness, it made me cry more than anything else ever had. Night after night, I'd watch her sleep and swallow the tears I couldn't let her see. They settled somewhere deep inside me, those tears, became something like a river. But slowly, Very slowly, something shifted. Through all the pain, through all those sleepless nights, I began to understand something with absolute clarity. It was never that my daughter didn't know the world. It was that the world didn't know her. She was never wrong. She was simply living, in her own time, in her own beautiful way, inside a world that was perfectly clear to her, even when it was invisible to everyone else. And I, imperfect, still learning, still stumbling, I have been quietly walking beside her, learning every single day what it truly means to be alive. I still think about that day sometimes. The cold air, the grief, the fear that sat in my chest like a stone, the feeling that everything had gone dark. But I know now, with certainty, that what felt like the end of the road was never an ending at all. It was the first step, the beginning of our real story. To raise a child, especially a child who is a little different from the rest, is to learn the world again from the beginning. To let what was rigid in you go soft. To find meaning in the slowness. It's a story that moves a little slower than most, perhaps, a little more quietly. But because of that, it runs a little deeper too. Today, I turned to the first page of a white notebook and carefully began to write. I hope you'll walk alongside us, gently and without rush. This has been Every Day, It All Comes Back.